After being broken up with by an avoidant, you are in a very painful place to be. Regardless of whether it was an abrupt, blindsiding discard or a slow fade out, and regardless of whether it was the ending of a dating relationship or a divorce, it's painful. Your heart is shattered into a million pieces. You were given little to no coherent explanation as to why the relationship had to end. Little to no closure. There was no communication prior to the ending of the relationship. You were never given the opportunity to address anything. And on top of it all, you're shown little to no empathy. So what do you do from here? Well, no contact might be the healthiest option for you. Let's get into 3 reasons why no contact is likely the best way to go and the healthiest way to go for you. First and foremost, no contact gives you the opportunity to heal. It gives you the opportunity to focus and channel your energy into things that better your life, better yourself. Focus on your work, your career, focus on your physical health, your fitness, focus on hobbies that you enjoy, your family, your friends. Focus on learning new skills, learn a new language, learn how to play guitar, travel the world. You have the opportunity to do things and put energy into things that are good for you. And it's proven that working towards a goal of some sort, if you set a goal like, I'm going to learn a new language, watching yourself progress towards a goal is a big dopamine reward. And you'll be replacing a lot of that dopamine that was lost from the relationship. Dopamine is that feel-good hormone that goes off in the brain, especially early in a relationship. So you can take that energy and put it into that, and you'll be sending yourself a powerful message that you have your own back, that you can take care of yourself even when it's difficult. Focus on understanding why the avoidant behaves the way they do. Focus on understanding their childhood attachment wounds, their insecurities, and where it comes from. And understanding doesn't mean giving a blanket excuse. It doesn't make it okay. But when you understand why this person behaves the way they do, it becomes infinitely easier to not personalize it, to recognize it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. It's a reflection of their unhealed attachment wounds. It's a reflection of their character, their insecurities, their choices. It is not reflective of your self-worth. Plus, you'll be sending yourself a healthy message. You're not chasing somebody and begging for somebody to choose you. You prioritize them. You deserve to be someone's priority in return. If you're begging, chasing, and pleading, you're subconsciously sending yourself the message that you are just an option and that it's okay for you to just beg and plead for someone to love you. You're sending yourself an incredibly unhealthy, insecure, anxious message by doing that. By holding no contact, you're setting boundaries not only with your ex, but with yourself, because you're respecting your own self-worth. And the messages that we send ourselves are so incredibly important. By staying in no contact, you're saying, I recognize my worth, and I do deserve better than this, and I do deserve somebody who chooses me. Plus, they asked for a breakup. And by going into no contact, you're just giving them the breakup they asked for. If you're chasing, begging, pleading, reaching out, you're not even respecting their wishes. So no contact really gives you an opportunity to channel that energy into healthy things for you. Number 2, by going into no contact, you are not enabling this person. They hurt you. They promised you a future and they pulled the rug from under your feet. They allowed their insecurities to run the show. They behaved in a way that lacked empathy, and they were behaving in a way that was selfish. They're only thinking of themselves and what they perceived that they want, needed, or felt, or feared in the moment. They weren't considering you or how it would impact you. If you're chasing them, reaching out, begging, trying to get them back to the relationship, you are sending them the message that what they did to you is okay and that you are still an available option for them in their back pocket, that they can reach out and pluck you back into the relationship at any time they want. There's no pressure on them to work on themselves because, hey, I can do this to somebody and still have them as an option pining away from me. There is no incentive for them to self-reflect or take accountability because you are still there enabling them along the way. When you go into no contact, you're sending them the message that it wasn't okay to do this to you, that you can't just blindside somebody, you can't just slow fade out on somebody, you can't just promise a future and then end it without any coherent explanation or empathy. It can give them an incentive to actually work on themselves, to take accountability. Because believe me, they will be noticing that you're not begging and chasing and pleading. Subconsciously, they expect you to do that. So as time goes by and they see that you are not doing so, well, it will make them quite curious as to what's going on, and then they can realize they can actually lose you, that you're not always an available option to them. That can be a very big wake-up call that they likely need, because their path of insecurity is only hurting themselves, not just you. They're perpetuating their own loneliness and their own emotional unavailability. So no contact, well, it prevents you from enabling this person further. And number 3, if there is any chance of rekindling the relationship, no contact gives it by far the best odds. You are under no obligation to take this person back. They hurt you, they crushed your heart. You are certainly well within your rights to say, no, thank you, that's not something I'm interested in revisiting. But if you are, no contact does give that the best chance. Immediately after the discard, the avoidant feels a sense of relief because they're no longer being pressured to be emotionally available, vulnerable for you. They're no longer feeling the pressure to give something of themselves to you. There's no longer expectations on them. So they feel a big stress relief. And keep in mind, relationships are a net source of stress for an avoidant because of all those pressures and expectations. So they're feeling a stress relief. Also, when they end a relationship, they deactivate, meaning they take their feelings for their partner and they suppress them, they bury them. They don't allow themselves to access their feelings for their partner. That's how they've learned to keep themselves safe. And that's also why they can often fail to show empathy, because they've completely suppressed their emotions. That's what avoidants do. They avoid. And avoiding emotions is one of the top things that they do. Now, as you are in no contact, well, you're not chasing, you're not pursuing, you're not begging, you're not pleading. Suddenly it feels safe to the avoidant because they're no longer being pressured, which means these suppressed emotions often come back to the surface. And that's when they can suddenly regret the breakup. Ooh, I made a mistake, I missed this person. And it can be a wake-up call because I'm not being chased, I'm not being pursued, I could really lose this person. And that can be an incentive for them to work on themselves, to do things like go to therapy, heal their inner attachment wounds. And that's often when they reach out and they try to give it another chance. But when they do reach out, if they do reach out, see if this person is taking true accountability. See if they're taking ownership for the way that they hurt you. See if they're taking steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. Steps like therapy with a licensed psychotherapist, communicating their feelings, taking true ownership, reading books about attachment and how to heal, etc. If they're taking these steps and they're communicating to you exactly what their game plan is to make sure that they don't do this again, it could be worth giving another chance. But if they are not, and they just want to sweep it under the rug and pretend like it never happened and just jump back into the relationship, well, you're setting yourself up for another heartbreak, because they are very likely to do it to you again. Because those same unhealed attachment wounds, those same insecurities, those same triggers are still simmering below the surface. And it's inevitable that something will happen in the relationship that will trigger them again. And you just be going through the pain all over again. And the second discard often hurts even worse than the first. So protect your heart, protect yourself. Make sure that this person is giving you tangible evidence that they are actually taking accountability and working on themselves. Otherwise, you're just asking for more pain and heartbreak. Protect yourself, recognize your self-worth. You didn't deserve what happened to you. You wouldn't do it to them, and you don't deserve it happening to you. Oh, and one more thing. If you have children or shared assets, shared business interests, you can still go into no contact. Just limit communication to essential stuff only. Limit communications to items about the children, about your finances, about kids, etc. No chit chat, no how's the weather, how you doing. Keep it civil, but business only, and you can still be in no contact, even if you have to talk to them about certain things.